Everyone talks about the first million. You've probably heard the phrase, the first million is the hardest. That's absolutely true. But what few people tell you is how much faster the second million comes. Most imagine it's another long grind. Years of saving, budgeting, and watching the market crawl along. But that's not how it works. Once you hit the first million, everything speeds up. The second is much closer than you think. The first million feels painfully slow because it's not just about money. It's about learning. You're figuring out how much to save, how to invest, how to avoid lifestyle creep, pay down debt, and manage your finances without a clear map. You're making mistakes, adjusting, and building habits from scratch. That's why it feels like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Few people get guidance early on. Most learn the hard way, paycheck to paycheck, with real responsibilities. One person shared, single income, 3 kids. It took 27 years to reach our first million. That was 18 months ago, and now we're at $1.5 million aiming for $3 million in 7 years. Once you see that kind of progress firsthand, the speed of growth is almost shocking. Imagine a household earning $75,000 a year, investing 20% of it in the SP 500, averaging about 10% annually. After 5 years, their portfolio might hit $100,000. After 10, around $250,000. 15 years, over $500,000. And after 2 decades of consistent saving and investing, $1 million. The early years feel painfully slow because your portfolio is small. A 10% return might only mean a few $1,000s, while your contributions do most of the work. But as you build habits, discipline, and confidence, something changes. By the time you reach that first million, compounding finally starts carrying its own weight. Suddenly, the same 10% growth means $100,000 in a single year. You feel real momentum, like the system finally works. First million at 48, second at 52, third at 56, fourth at 57. That's the power of acceleration. After years of slow, invisible progress, you begin to watch your wealth grow almost on its own. Making $100,000 from your investments feels like earning a 6-figure salary without extra hours or stress. Add continued contributions, and the growth becomes exciting to witness. Building wealth is like starting a campfire. At first, you're blowing on sparks, feeding it twigs, and protecting it from going out. It feels slow, even discouraging. But once it catches, it burns on its own. Every log you add fuels it further. That's what happens after your first million. The fire sustains itself. For one family, the first million took 17 years. The second came 6 years later, and the third just 4 years after that. Their household income never exceeded $150,000. They just saved aggressively and invested in simple index funds. In 10 years, they tripled their wealth. It took almost 20 years to make the first million, and only 10 to make the next 2. That's the magic of compounding. The first million depends mostly on your savings. The second, your money does most of the work. With $1 million compounding at 10% and steady contributions, the next million can come in just 7 to 8 years, even faster for high savers. The principle holds true even if you earn less or save less. The second million always arrives quicker. But there's another layer, the mental game. Once you've reached a major milestone, your mindset changes. You've seen compounding work. You trust the process. Market dips don't scare you anymore. You stop chasing risky bets because you finally believe you'll get there without them. You gain negotiating power, confidence to ask for a raise, walk away from a bad job, or take smarter risks like starting a business. That peace of mind fuels consistency, and consistency fuels momentum. The second million comes faster, not just mathematically, but psychologically. You're calmer, wiser, and far less likely to sabotage your progress. One investor shared, "I got married to someone earning about the same as me. Together, we had $600,000. 6 years later, we hit $2 million. 2 years after that, $3 million. Yes, the bull market helped, especially our tech investments. But as they say, the harder you work, the luckier you get. Of course, timing plays a role. A long bear market could have delayed things, but compounding would still have caught up. Once you cross $2 million, acceleration only gets stronger. A 10% return now means $200,000 in growth per year, before adding a single dollar of your own. If it took 7 years to go from 1 to 2 million, the jump from 2 to 3 might take only 3 or 4. At $3 million, you're earning $300,000 in market growth annually. The math alone begins to drive the journey. Yes, inflation exists, but over the few years it takes your $2 million portfolio to become $3 million, its impact is small compared to your rising income and improving saving habits. The sad truth is, most people never see the second million, not because it's out of reach, but because they stop too soon. They start spending heavily right before the exponential growth phase, when their portfolio begins generating hundreds of thousands in returns each year. One retiree shared, "Our portfolio hit $2 million just 5 years after reaching one. We stopped contributing 10 months ago because we retired, and it's still growing." This kind of progress isn't rare. Many disciplined investors investors experience it, especially during bull markets. And even in retirement, a well-positioned portfolio often continues to grow. If you're still chasing your first million, it may feel far away, slow, exhausting, and frustrating. But remember this, the closer you get, the faster it comes. Every dollar you save builds momentum. Wealth doesn't grow in a straight line. It curves upward. The first million is the hardest because you're learning and building the foundation. But once you cross it, everything accelerates. So keep going, keep saving, keep investing, because the second million, it's coming, and it'll arrive faster than you think. If this gave you clarity or motivation, like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because your journey to financial freedom has already begun.